All right, so today we're going to dive into something that, on the surface, looks like a super technical, kind of dry document. But trust me, inside this thing, it's the secret recipe for building the hospital of the future. A place that's way safer and a whole lot smarter.
So just think about this for a second. What if a hospital could find literally anything, or anyone, in an instant? You know, a code blue is happening, and a nurse doesn't have to run around searching. They just look at a screen and know exactly where the closest defibrillator is. This isn't some far-off sci-fi idea. This is the real-world problem that this entire system is designed to solve.
Okay, so Section 1, Hospitals' Hidden Challenges. Before we jump into all the cool tech, we've got to understand the why. What's the problem they're trying to fix? So let's pull back the curtain a little bit and look at the organized chaos that happens every single day behind the scenes in a hospital.
I mean, look at this. This is the daily grind. You've got nurses spending, get this, up to an hour of their shift just looking for stuff. You've got staff who need to be kept safe in really stressful situations. And then there's the constant worry about keeping vulnerable patients from wandering off. All that time spent searching is time not spent caring for people. And that's the core issue, right? That's what this is all about fixing.
All right, Section 2, an indoor GPS for healthcare. So we get the problem. Now let's talk about the solution. And it's actually a really elegant idea. If the main problem is, where is everything? Well, the answer is a system that knows where everything is all the time. The best way to think about it? It's literally an indoor GPS, but supercharged for a hospital.
The fancy technical name for this is a real-time location system, or RTLS. And the document is super specific. It calls for the latest and greatest Bluetooth 5.1 tech. And what that means is we're not just talking about knowing something's on the third floor somewhere. No, this is about knowing its exact spot in a specific room right this second.
Okay, Section 3, how the system works. So how does this whole indoor GPS thing actually work? Let's break it down into its basic parts. It's actually a lot simpler than you might think.
So, it all starts with this little thing, the tag. Think of it like a tiny little beacon. You stick it on anything you want to track, a wheelchair, an IV pump, a staff ID badge, you name it. And its only job is to constantly chirp out a tiny signal that just says, hey, I'm over here.
Okay, so if the tags are chirping, you need something to listen, right? That's where the locators come in. These are like the ears of the system. You mount them up on the ceiling and they're just listening for those little chirps from the tags. But here's the clever part. They don't just hear the signal. They use these special antennas to figure out the exact angle the signal is coming from.
And this is where the magic happens. All that angle information from all the different locators that heard the same chirp gets sent to the location engine. This is the brain of the whole operation. It takes all those different angles, does some seriously smart math, like triangulation on steroids, and poof, it calculates the precise XY coordinates of that tag on a digital map.
So, let's just walk through that one more time. Step 1, the tag sends out its little signal. Step 2, a bunch of locators hear it and figure out the angle. 3, that data gets zapped over to the location engine. 4, the engine does its number crunching, and 5, boom, a little dot pops up on a screen showing the staff exactly where that thing is. It's simple, it's fast, and it's happening constantly for thousands of tags at once.
Okay, but let's get practical for a minute. You've got hundreds, maybe thousands of these locators all over the ceiling. Are you seriously going to run a network cable to every single one? I mean, that would be a total nightmare to install, not to mention crazy expensive. Well, the people who wrote this document thought of that, and they have a really clever solution. And here it is. This chart shows the old way versus the smart way. Instead of a dedicated cable for every single locator, you run one cable to this little box called an aggregator. Then you can plug a whole bunch of locators into that. It's a huge deal. It means way less wiring, you don't need nearly as many expensive network ports, and the whole thing becomes cheaper and way easier to set up and expand later. So, Section 4, the rules of the game. We've got the tech figured out, but let's be real. When you're talking about a system for a hospital, where lives are on the line, you can't just wing it. You need some hard and fast rules. So let's look at the absolute non-negotiables that were laid out in this plan.
First up, accuracy. The system has to be accurate to within 1 meter. Now that might not sound like much, but think about what it means. It's the difference between knowing a defibrillator is in this room versus in the room next door. In an emergency, that 1 meter is, well, it's everything.
Next, speed. The tech folks call it latency. For any critical alert, like a nurse hitting a panic button, that alert has to appear on the screen in 5 seconds or less. Max.
That 5-second window could be the entire response time. You just can't afford to wait.
And it doesn't stop there. The system has to work perfectly right out of the box, no constant tweaking. It has to be vendor neutral, which is a fancy way of saying the hospital can't be trapped into buying overpriced tags from only one company forever. And a huge one. All the sensitive data has to stay right here in the country for privacy. These rules are all about making sure the system is rock solid, affordable in the long run, and totally secure.
Okay, Section 5, the impact on patient care. So we've talked about the tech, the wiring, the rules, but what does it all do? What does it mean for the nurses, the doctors, and most importantly, the patients? Let's get into the real-world stuff.
First, staff safety. It's about peace of mind. A nurse is in a tough situation, they press a button on their badge, and security knows exactly where they are, instantly, no questions asked.
Then there's just finding stuff. Asset tracking. This is a total game changer. No more running around 3 different floors looking for an infusion pump. You just look at the map, find the closest one, and go get it. That's more time spent with patients, period.
And what about patient safety? This is huge. A patient who might be confused or at risk of falling can wear a simple wristband. If they start to wander towards an exit or a staircase, the staff gets an automatic alert before anything bad can happen.
And this one is so important, especially now. Contact tracing. If a patient tests positive for something contagious, the system can spit out a report in seconds showing every person they were near and every piece of equipment they touched. That's how you stop an outbreak before it even starts. And this quote from the actual document just nails it. The key takeaway here is that this isn't a bunch of different systems cobbled together. It's one system, one platform doing all of this stuff at the same time. Staff safety, finding equipment, protecting patients, it's all happening on the same network all at once. So when you put it all together, this isn't just a small upgrade. It's a fundamental shift in how a hospital works. It's moving from being reactive, responding to problems, to being proactive and data-driven. This document is the blueprint for the smart hospital of today. But it really makes you think, right? If this is what we can do now, what comes next?